Hello everyone, welcome to another pick a card reading. Thank you so much for joining me for today's reading. If you are a new or returning subscriber, major, huge, energetic hug and gratitude to you. So today we're going to be taking a look at whether or not you should wait for this person. And this could mean romantic relationship, friendship, or otherwise, if you're considering giving this person a second chance, or if you're wondering if you need to be waiting it out for this person, like if they're trying to make a return of some kind, and you're not sure whether or not you should wait for them, then this is the reading for you. So we've got three groups here. Group number one is going to be using our smooth red calcite. Group number two features a red calcite also, but it is a rough cut. And then group number three is this blue petersite. So feel free to pick one, two, or all three of the groups. The timestamps are in the description box down below, and we will get the guidance to help us figure out whether or not you should be waiting for your person. So let's go ahead, jump right in with group number one. Okay, welcome group number one to your reading. Let's answer the question, should we wait for this person? So let me unpackage the oracle cards first, and then we will do the tarot. So we have announcement, and then we have shame, and then we have torch, spiritual development, awareness, and understanding. And then finally we have stork, news of a birth or a new business opportunity. Okay, so now let's unpackage the tarot. Two of Cups in the reverse. The Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. Knight of Wands in the reverse. And Justice in the reverse, the Seven of Cups, the World, and the Six of Swords. Okay, so the vibe I'm immediately getting off of this is that no, you should not be waiting for this person. I am actually getting a little bit of a third-party vibe here, as in there probably is more than one person involved in this relationship, whether or not you know of their involvement, because we have the two knights. Anytime I get a reading where I see multiple face cards, so to put it, or the royal suit cards, then that tends to make me think that there's multiple people involved in this story. We have the Knight of Pentacles and the Knight of Wands. And another thing I also want to mention, analyzing basically just generally what's going on in the reading, is that there are, the majority of the cards are in the reverse, which again is telling me that there is resistance or anxiety towards this specific scenario. And what this is telling me is that it's time for you to leave. It's time for you to get out and move on, specifically because you have the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords card pops up for me for two different reasons. One, if it is a toxic relationship and, kind of like you're being gaslighted into believing that that it's better off for your safety or for your livelihood in general if you stay with this person. Or I get it when you're going through a rough patch, a rough period in your life, and this is the way in which you'll find out who your true friends are, who your real people are. And because it's in your final outcome position, this is making me feel like it's the latter. It's who is going to be your ride or die, the person that's going to stick by your side. And I feel like this is more so friends and family or people outside of whoever is involved in this scenario, right? On top of it too, you have the world. And so this is the ending of one chapter and the beginning of the next. So moving on into the next phase of your life, and doing so with people who've got your back and who are there for you no matter what. I feel like this relationship, the person that you're wondering whether or not you should wait for them, they did play a lot of mind games with you, because you have the Justice in the reverse as well as the Seven of Cups. Now, the Seven of Cups card is a card that's all about like the fantasies, fantasy relationships, fantasizing over placing fantasy above reality. And for some people, it's a method of blinding them to the red flags, to the facts. I really do believe that whoever this person was playing mind games with you, you know, and they made you feel like, you know, in order to be successful in life, you had to stick with them. Justice in the reverse tells me that the cards weren't really in your favor as much. And it just is, it's like this vibe of feeling taken advantage of. Also, we've got the Two of Cups in the reverse. Now, if this were in the upright, I would say this is your soulmate or twin flame. And this is someone who, especially a twin flame, because this card in particular, usually twin flames are like your mirror version of yourself, the shadow version of yourself. And because it's in the reverse, it tells me that it likely isn't. It could be a twin flame, but the biggest thing of all is that it's saying that it's really not healthy for you to be with this person, because they make you feel shameful about yourself, and they aren't good for your peace of mind, for your mental health. And that's why you need to be going through this phase of spiritual development, enlightenment, growth, understanding. It's a big, huge period of learning for yourself. So this could be a third-party situation, or what these could represent, these two different knights, is also the kind of like two-faced vibe that this person gives off. So they could be a Gemini or a Pisces, something dualistic, or they could just have had those phases where some days, you know, they seemed good and they were protective or strong, or, you know, they seemed to be that kind of like supportive figure that would have been represented with the Pentacles. But then other days they would just be short-tempered and difficult to please and things like that. That would have been represented with the Knight of Wands. The point of all of this is that these are both knights, and knight cards represent very immature maturity level, energy in general. And so this is a person that needs to be released, and it doesn't seem worthwhile at this moment in time to wait for them. If they are to make a return, then they will do so at a much later point in time. But it just really doesn't, I don't get the good vibe that this is someone that needs to be in your life, basically. So now the last two things I wanted to talk about before I break off into the extended reading is, so there is the announcement card, and then we also have Stork, news of a birth or a new business opportunity. And for me, kind of what I'm getting from this is I don't necessarily get like the pregnancy vibe, although you could be finding out that you might be pregnant. For me, it's mostly news or announcement of a new way of life. Like it could even mean like you're getting a job that takes you across the country or forces you to move somewhere else. And what this is saying is that you need to go for it, because it's going to be that method in which you'll evolve and upgrade away from this current level of thinking. So these are the things that I want to look deeper at in the extended reading, is what exactly is going on with this announcement, with this news of birth or a business opportunity, what exactly does that mean? And what can we expect for you in the future? So thank you, group number 1, for joining me for today's reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you feel called to join me for the extended reading, that link is in the description down below. But yeah, super grateful you were able to join me. And if you are interested in checking out group number 2, we're going to hop over to that next. Take care. Group number 2, welcome to your reading. We're going to be looking at should you wait for them. So let's jump in with the oracle cards. We have Bat, take care, enemies are working against you. Then we have Bird flying, news is on the way. For the Fairy Godmother oracle cards, we have blossoming and listening. Okay? I feel like you're going through a phase where you are evolving yourself. We have the Star in the reverse, the Hermit, Chariot in the reverse, the World. You have a lot of major arcanas. So again, this is like major life change, Temperance, the Knight of Cups in the reverse, and the Fool. Oh wow. Okay, 6 out of 7 of these cards are major arcana. Okay, for those of you that aren't familiar with tarot is broken into it's 78 cards in total. Every single deck, even though they have different artwork, they all have the same structure, which is 78 cards. 56 of them were actually considered the ancestor of the 52 card playing deck. It has the ace through the king, but it adds on the page. So instead of Jack, Queen, King, it is Page, Knight, Queen, King. And then we have the second section, which is 22 cards called the Major Arcana. The first was called the Minor. Now the Major Arcana, it really represents kind of like a visual storybook. And if you guys in English, you probably learned this in high school English class. It was called The Hero's Journey. And it was kind of like the major, very well used method for telling a story. It's like a sequence of events, right? And you actually have the 2 cards that are the beginning and the end of the hero's journey, okay? The Fool represents the beginning of the hero's journey. This is moving blindly, understanding, accepting your quest, and taking it on with, innocence and fervor and excitement, and just, venturing off into the distance, not with a clear idea on what exactly it is you're doing, but you're knowing that you're going to be successful in the end, and just taking things on with storm. And then the hero's journey ends with the World. And I love this card because it represents both the beginning and the end of 2 different chapters. And so, the hero has gone through their quest, they've defeated whatever evil or foe, and now, it's time to move on to the next phase of their life. And throughout the major arcana, it has like different people, places, events, different archetypes that take the hero or the heroine from, step 0 to step 22. And long story short, this is telling me that this is not the person for you, and this is not the person that you should be waiting for. 2 main cards are really specifying this for me. The Hermit, which is a card about looking within, spending time alone, focusing on gaining wisdom and inner peace with the self. And then you also have the Page of Cups in the reverse. And this card is usually like a proposal of love, sometimes the return of maybe someone that you were in a relationship with before, but usually that's the sign that they're reaching out and they're saying, I'm returning to you. And because that one is in the reverse and we've got the Hermit as well, it's telling me is not worth it. It's also not worth the work either, because the Chariot is in the reverse. And so there's nothing really that you can do to make this person change their ways or to do something differently. And there is something so much better for you in the future, because what you want right now may not be what your future self ends up getting or what your future self even ends up wanting. So the star in the reverse is really, its wishes are still being granted, but just not in the way in which you originally thought it would be. So the World, representing the ending of a chapter and the beginning of a new one. Underneath it is Temperance, and this is about patience, and it also is a little bit about alchemy, and it reminds me of manifestation in the fact that it's saying, you know, if you're sifting water enough, you can turn water into gold. But it's also about, this card particularly shows a woman watering plants, and so that it's all about patience and giving back to the earth and working with the earth and focusing on taking care of yourself, really self-care mostly is how it's also portrayed in other cards. And again, less focus on the relationship. And then the final outcome of all of this it's the Fool. And so again, this is that moving into that new phase, that new quest, that new journey of life without the other person. So you're blossoming. This is a blossoming phase of life where you are moving into your own, you are becoming your own independent person. And so what they're saying, what's important for you to do is to listen to what your body needs. Listen to what you are asking for inside. And to begin protecting yourself and learning what isn't going to work for you in your life. That we have bat, take care, enemies are working against you, right? So this is really telling me that the person that you're considering whether or not you should be waiting for, I don't really get the sense that they're like toxic. I just don't feel that they are worth the work, basically. And so the enemy in this sense would be really your own guilt, feeling guilty to want to help this person, to put in the work. It's almost as if like this is someone who makes people feel guilty into helping them with their problems. But at the end of the day, it only continues to enable those same behavioral problems over and over and over again. So it's time to move on with the bird flying, and also news is on the way, right? You need to fly off, do your own thing, listen to yourself, and that inner voice will tell you exactly where to go and what to do. So if that's something that you're looking for a little bit more guidance on, I think that that's what I'm going to clarify in this extended reading is, what is this new journey that you're venturing on? Sorry, an alarm went off. So it's, what is this new journey you are venturing on? What can you expect? What kind of guidance do you need for it? So if you feel called to join me for that extended reading, the description is down below. And yes, so thank you so much for joining me for today's reading. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel so that you can see more videos that I put up every week. Otherwise, thank you so much, and I will either see you in group 3 or in the next video. Take care. I would jump into your reading group 3, but I don't want the dogs playing to be distractive. Okay. Welcome group number 3 to your not your extended reading, to your pick a card reading for Should You Wait for Them. We have this Peter site representing group number 3. That was a very loud smack. So we've got Diamond. You'll be receiving or giving a precious gift. And then we have Unicorn. Use your intuition to make beneficial changes. Okay? And finally, oh wow, we've got Divine Love and Destiny. So this is kind of feeling like a yes. You should wait for them. So let's unpackage these tarot. We have the Two of Swords in the reverse, the King of Cups, the Three of Cups, King of Pentacles in the reverse, the Ten of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and then finally the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay. I am getting the vibe that yes, you should wait for them, but not in like a I'm not going to date anybody else, I'm not going to have any relationships with anybody else kind of a thing. I think it's mostly just like having patience and knowing that they will return in their own, and that you shouldn't put your life on pause. That's the biggest message. Don't put your life on pause for this person. Live your own life and let them back in when the time is right. So let's break it down. We've got, so in the beginning, in like your current situation where you are right now, you have the Two of Swords in the reverse. And this is telling me that there was anxiety over making a decision to stay or go or to remain in this relationship for a period of time. And I think that now you've had it. You're at your wit's end. You've decided that it's time for you to be making decisions for yourself that are focusing on you rather than trying to be helpful. It's almost as if like this relationship was one where you were trying to fix this person, right? And it ended with you getting hurt. We've got the King of Pentacles in the reverse as well as the Ten of Swords. So for me, I'm reading this as this is the other person that you're waiting to see if they will make a return. And they were originally perceived to be someone that was solid. They had, they perceivably had a good foundation. They perceivably had, a good head on their shoulders, but they very quickly broke that trust and hurt you, either by taking advantage of you or stabbing you in the back or, misleading you in some kind of way, right? And this could have been like a third-party situation. There could have been someone else involved because we have the Three of Cups in the reverse. So this could mean that it was, some kind of an open relationship, or maybe they cheated or something along those lines, and essentially it broke your trust. And what's interesting here is we have the King of Cups. So this could be perceived as another player in this story. Or it can also represent the evolution of this person going from this perceived or falsified stability into, this phase of emotional maturity and emotional stability as well. But for you, I mostly see you here as this Queen of Swords character. Now, you could be a love sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, or you could also just be embracing, not necessarily being cold, but you have enough respect for yourself to defend yourself and to be independent and to not require validity from anyone else. This is mainly about like stepping into your own and saying, come back when you have your shit together, basically. And then the final card is the Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. Now, this card is normally in the upright. It represents like it's represented as a garden, and as if someone has planted seeds, and now the 7 is the stage of the cycle of the garden's life, where you are supposed to be tilling the soil, watering the soil, nurturing it, and having the patience to allow it to sprout and grow and flourish on its own. This particular deck, the Sorcerer's Tarot, always kind of played off this card as if it was representing like vanity, or like getting ahead of yourself, or like perceiving yourself to be holier than thou in some kind of a way. And so, I mean, both concepts are interesting, but mostly it still is like, for me, it's kind of like a clarifier for the Queen of Swords that we were seeing before. It's really just about you moving into this phase of your life where you're not taking shit, you're saying no, but because you're saying no more often to the things that aren't serving you. And what's super cool is you have destiny, and then you also have divine love. So for me, this is saying that this probably is twin flame, soulmate, something along those lines. More likely a twin flame because, well, I mean, it could be either, but I was kind of thinking more so twin flame because usually you experience more trials and tribulations in life with your twin flame because they are the shadow side of yourself. But so it's just saying, like, keep on trucking, okay? You've got unicorn. Listen to your intuition. Miracles are in your path. Like, they are a part of your life. Again, you got divine love and destiny. And then finally, diamond, you'll be receiving a gift or giving a gift. So you probably gave this person the gift of maturity, of knowledge, of learning, and they could be coming back to you with a gift themselves. So you know what? That's actually what I'm going to want to clarify in this extended reading is how will they be making their return, what it's going to look like, what your reaction, what I would recommend your reaction to be, things along those lines. So if you feel called to join me for that extended reading, that link is in the description down below. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me for this reading, answering the question, should I wait for them to return? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment, let me know that you enjoyed it. And this tells me that this is along the lines of what you'd like to see from me more so in the future. And yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciated it, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.